Well, hey folks, Rudy Alpha Investments. Today we're going to talk about Mishra's Workshop, also known as Mishra's Workshop. Most people just call it Mishra's Workshop, which I think is probably the way I am. So I'm going to give you a little backstory before we talk about this $5,000 Mishra's Workshop, blah, blah, blah kind of thing. So I want you guys to sit down. Let's go back in time a little bit. So first things first, this was my first Mishra's Workshop PSA 10 that I had bought a very long time ago. I don't remember the exact time or date or anything, but I would assume it's many, many years ago. According to my spreadsheet, I paid about $1,000 for a PSA 10 Mishra's Workshop. Now, obviously, at the time of purchasing that card, I think Mishra's workshops were probably selling for about maybe $400 to $500 range. So, paying double for what everybody ridiculed as Rudy, don't buy graded antiquity cards because antiquities and legends and Arabian Nights, there's so many of them. Just, only cards that should be graded are alpha, beta, because they're so rare. Alpha had a print run rares of 1,100, probably about 500-600 left in the world, of which 10% of those are probably minty and nice, so maybe 50 left of quality, minty, gradable alpha rares. So betas, about 3 times that. Obviously, instead of 1,100 rares, you got 3,300, just multiply the numbers by 3. So instead of maybe 50 alpha rares left that are decent, you can say maybe 150 beta rares that are clean and decent. So when it came to antiquities, and the print run would be approximately, Workshop had probably, 20, 30,000 made. Obviously, when you looked at the gradable world a long time ago, that was deemed very, ugh, why would you do that? It was printed to oblivion, everybody. So I had a lot of ridicule from that when I bought that a long time ago. Years later, years before that, my very first thing before I bought any Mishra's Workshops, originally, I liked the set. I never really targeted the actual workshop, but I bought, these are my very original ones when I was a young kid. This notebook should be, I think, 4 complete sets of just antiquities. I just really liked the set. It was my favorite thing when I was younger. And again, when I was younger, I never had access or any knowledge of Arabian Nights or anything because we didn't have that here in Florida. So antiquities was kind of like my old kind of go-to thing. So I made my 4 play sets of antiquity complete sets. This was my original 4. I've had this exact same notebook since college. And when I was in business school, that was in 2004. That was when I was getting my bachelor's corporate finance, the BA, and that was when I had acquired my 4 sets of antiquity. Actually, I think there's 5. That's 3. So anyways, you get the idea. So those are the original sets I bought. And when I bought those complete sets, I paid, I know, sit down everybody, a complete set of antiquities was about $900. It was insane. So paying $900 for a complete set of antiquities, whatever year this was, I guess maybe around that 04, 05, maybe, because I think I got the first one 04, then the second was 05, and then I think I bought the other 3, something like that when I graduated. So, obviously back then, imagine what everybody thought when I was spending $4,000 for 4 complete sets of Magic cards in 2005. Think about that, everybody. So, I look back at that, and I wanted them because I couldn't believe how cheap they were. And everybody else was telling me how stupidly expensive and waste of money and what you're doing is. Okay? So obviously, fast forward today, with all the collection buying and different things, obviously I've accumulated a lot more workshops and pages. I think there's 6 more in the back. So here's 15. I can math. Look at me, hashtag Rudy can math. I've been focusing still on just acquiring additional complete sets. I never really targeted, these are my extra 15 that I did not really remove from this, Rudy Antiquity God book thing, and actually put in my complete set. So I kind of continue to build complete set of antiquities. I have quite a few complete set of antiquities now. Not as many as Arabian Nights, but that was my target. I never really targeted a particular card or had really a particular favorite card. Like I knew Workshop was always a broken card. It was always insane. So we can fast forward now to 2020. In 2017, the big reserve list boom, when it first became kind of mainstream about this investing in Magic and reserve lists. Everybody thought when Workshop had spiked to about $1,000, $1,200 a card, that was a bubble, and workshops were overpriced. A lot of people sold. A lot of people contacted me during that time, and I even did a lot of buying in 2017, even on the prices on the way up. Now, of course, I always take the buy list averages from 2-3 different stores, and I average to make sure it's the most accurate. I'll pull from 3 different online websites and average them together. So at the time, all the way up to like 2017 at the peak, when the buy list was raised to about $1,000 a workshop, I was still buying workshops. And then in 2018, 2019, when the bear market and the collapse of the reserve list and the end of the reserve list, the investors were wiped out, they got what they deserve, any other thing you guys want to say, give me something really good. I'll pin it at the bottom. You guys have been slacking. I need some really creative, aggressive comments. Give me something crazy so I can pin it. Come on, you guys have been, step up your game. I mean, come on. I mean, were we drunk on tacos? What's happening here? So by that time in 2019, when things were really bad in reserve lists, workshops had dropped. Probably a minty workshop would probably be on eBay and probably sell for about $900 to $1,000. The buy list had been lowered to probably about $400 for played, maybe $600-700 for minty. Okay, and I was still buying. And then 2020 hit everybody. Obviously, by March of 2020, when the full-blown virus had clamped and nuked society, everything went to hell. I mean, buy lists went to nothing. I mean, I was seeing buy list prices that were so absurd. That was when I was telling you guys, look, I'm still buying, quote unquote, stay the course, was born. I'm staying, I'm still going to do it, but I don't recommend you buy. It is what it is. Based on where they were before, you're probably looking at 30 to 50 cents on the dollar was my exact quote from the video. You guys can pull it from March of 2020. So literally, some people were selling me cards at 30 cents on the dollar from the highs, and others were 50 cents on the dollar, depending on the quality of the card and the size of the collection. So at that time, the lows were insane. I mean, it was completely insane. The Bazaar Baghdad's had buy list cards of, it's like $400. Library of Alexandria's, I saw the lows like $350. Workshops were down to $400, maybe $500 for minty. It was insane. And that was for whatever company or store even was still doing that. Most of them just pulled them down and said, we're not touching it. We don't want anything to do with the old cards. They've been dropping for 2 years. Now we have this whole pandemic end of the world. We're out. And to this day, I think finally the big stores are coming back in, absorbing. That's why another reason we have a leg up right now. So I continue to accumulate quite a bit. As you all know, when 2020 really got bad and everybody was just like, this is why you never invest in Magic, this is cardboard, I continue to just pump but not dump, as they always say, hashtag Rudy pumps but not dumps. And I continued to acquire, and you guys saw the videos, there were still collections and collection videos every week. And now it's not happening that much. It's really turned a lot. The amount of collections and transactions has dropped significantly compared to 6 months ago. It's like a completely different world. So, brings me to the final point of the video. I know, 8 minutes in, most people have already clicked off, thumbs down, did their mean comment, whatever. So 8 minutes in the video, Rudy, I'm hearing rumors about workshop at $5,000 a card. Give me your opinion. Okay, well my opinion is, as of the filming of this video, still kind of the middle of September of 2020 here, I'm not sure when you'll see the video, I looked on eBay. There are still there's like 4 workshops on eBay below $2,000 a card. And those 4 workshops are all probably MP or HP condition. I mean, it's either moderate played or really heavy. I mean, they're not nice. They're not quality at all. But at least you can get a real card. Besides that, anything gradable or nice is already $2,500 to $4,000 a card. And we're just talking BGSs and PSAs that are 8 to 9. We're not even talking pristines and 9.5s or PSA 10s. Nothing like that. Actually, I don't even think we're talking BGS or PSA 9s. I think it's like 8 and 8.5s. The market is obviously done a complete 180, just like the conversation on Arabian Nights. And another video you guys are going to see talking about Portal 3 Kingdoms coming up, and a video coming up on Alliances also. A lot of things have changed, and it changed really quick. And that anytime you have a very aggressive, fast, knee-jerk change in any marketplace, you have people that brag and think they're rock stars, and you have people who get very angry because it shifted so hard. They were either about to buy the card or the item or the asset, or they didn't have enough money. They were saving for the item, and now it's just jumped out of reach, and it's very emotionally frustrating for those individuals, which you can't blame them. So that's where we are with what's going on right now in 2020. So, MTG Stocks and Goldfish and all these fancy websites with the lab coats, ivory towers, and scholars who are really smart in the industry are showing that, the price of the card is popped to $5,000 a card. Obviously, sold listings do not reflect that. But besides the raw, shocking number, I think the most important thing to understand is look on eBay. Look what's for sale. It's essentially you're looking at $2,000 a card right now. This is the same conversation I have had with everybody 3 years ago in 2017 when I said Bazaar Baghdad should be $2,000 a card. And everybody lost their mind, anger, hate, threats, blah, blah, blah. So now here we are, and now there's another card that literally I consider in the same category as a Bazaar or a library, a LOA, Library of Alexandria. And sorry for the acronym. Sometimes I'm just so used to it, they slip out. So it's Workshop's in the same category. These two Arabian Night heavy hitters, and while the Workshop is not a $5,000 card right now, it is on the path, and it will become a $5,000 card. It's not there now. It's not a $5,000 card today. I think the Workshops are $2,000 a piece now. Even if we retrace 10-20%, Workshops come back down. People lock in profits and Workshop goes down 20% back to what, 15, 16, 1700. It's still, you're never going to see Workshops below $1,000 a card again. And just like I said in 2017, and this is going to make a lot of people angry, at $2,000 a piece for a Workshop on eBay right now, I still think that's a good price. Now, try to get a nice quality one, not that, Rudy's got taco sauce. The corner of the card is held together by a Dorito. Trying to actually get a quality card. So that's where we are. And I know that's going to make a lot of people unhappy. And that's okay because we need to have the conversation. This is very important. I do believe the card will find its way to $5,000 a card. It's going to get there. And I know some of you, that is just like your head is turned into cabbage and you're rolling down the street. Literally, you're going to roll into a hole where I dug for carrots. I get it. I don't think it's going to get there anytime soon. I genuinely think the price for $2,000 for a Workshop is about the correct price for 2020 and maybe the next 1 to 2 years. I think we'll have some market noise, maybe a 10-20% push up, maybe push down. So we're going to average around that 1,800 to 2,200 range. And I don't think there's going to be much higher movement in the short term. I think this is kind of the new plateau for the 2020, maybe 2021 range. But I've been very wrong on this already quite a bit. I've already said I didn't expect all this to kind of kick in at all in 2020. So I've already been very wrong at guessing timing. And side note, everybody, for all of you Wall Street bets and equity debt traders and option traders that love to live and die by the sword on everything of gambling on Wall Street bets and putting all your money on, betting the market up or down in short-term option trading. Remember, it's not about whether you're right or wrong. You're actually placing bets and you're betting against time. You're betting against timing. You're not betting whether or not you think Blockbuster is going to go to 0 or go to 1 million. You're betting on timing. That's the problem that people screw up on over and over. It's not whether you're right or wrong. You're betting on the timing of whether you're right or wrong. So this conversation goes back to the same thing with Workshops here. Antiquities as a whole remains a very cheap product. It's a 1994 piece of history. There is nothing ever going to be like it again. And every year that goes by, more and more disappear from lost mail, natural disasters, and natural attrition for the cards just disappear in the world. These products will continue to age and become museum pieces in the future. I don't see anything derailing these Four Horsemen sets. Arabian Nights, Antiquities, Legends, and the weakest of the four, the Dark. These are undervalued, very impressive items. As I said, even at the beginning of the year when things were really bad in 2020, I highly recommend everybody, don't be a hero, don't go all in. You need to be slowly building positions if this is a collectible that you truly have a passion for. You're not going to get rich on it. You're not going to become some 10x, bazillion dollar internet guru where it's just not going to happen. It's not going to happen. But it's a good place to have a collectible that retains some value and will probably grow and continue to move that way in the long period of time. And that's what's happening. But the thing is, in the real world, we don't see, magic cards don't move by normal 5 to 8% increases every year, every 6 months, or every 2 years. Remember, collectibles don't operate that way. Mishra's Workshop is a great example of what can happen when a card is worth $1,000 for many years, and then overnight, you literally need to be positioned where that $1,000 assets, that collectible, whatever you want to call it, goes from $1,000 to a knee-jerk elevator up, staircase, boom, to $2,000. It is a straight going, here's the timeline, straight up, and then back to sideways. In that one gap, if you miss the gap, and you don't get to play in that gap, giggity, you're going to miss out on most of the returns. And Wall Street operates the same way. People who attempt to time the market, they will get some right. They think they're rock stars and better than everybody. Then they won't tell you about the ones they get wrong. But in the long run, you cannot win the timing game. So this is a very important conversation to me to have with all of you. And if, again, to remind you, if this kind of stuff, these are things you have a passion for, these are, again, I know $2,000 a card sounds crazy, but in 5 years from now, you're going to wish you paid $2,000 a card, the same way that when I was paying $1,000 a card, people thought that was crazy. And then when I bought my, where'd it go? PSA 10 Workshop, the very first one years ago, when I paid $900 for it, people thought that was crazy. You see my point? So that's really, and I think I have a couple of those PSA 10 Workshops, so, sorry, I don't know the serial number which is which, but this is one of them. I think there's 2 or 3. So that's my overall thought. So for those of you watching this, if you're looking to get a card in the short term, you're probably going to be better off waiting for the price to do a small retracement. But again, as we know with buyouts, the price never goes back and breaks the old lows. Okay? The best time to buy is always yesterday. The next best time to buy is probably right now. And if you're lucky, you can try to find somebody, work out a deal, get a little bit of a discount. But the cards, they retain value. And with what's happening with Wizards in 2020, between the economic pandemic problems and Wizards going all out, reprinting everything between secret layers, products, special lists, and they're grabbing all these cards that are not reserve lists, the money is going to continue to flow to this golden age, top tier collectible class. I mean, you got to remember that. A secret layer marketed as special and collectible or investable today is nowhere near the same as buying a 1994 Antiquities set, which I guess is the filming this video. I'm not sure what a complete set would sell for. I didn't price check that. I apologize, but I would assume if a Workshop in near mint is, $2,500, and then you have all the Tron lands, you have pretty much the 4-season factories, including Winter. I saw Transmute Artifact and Power Artifact are actually holding $200-300 a piece. They've tripled from their $99 price point that they were sitting at for years. All the cards across the board have moved dramatically. So if I had to take a guess, a complete set of Antiquities, which used to be under $1,000, and then when I started to expand into Antiquities, I was buying complete sets for about $3,000 a set for Antiquities. So now, I'm going to assume, based on the market adjustment, depending on the quality of the set, a complete set of Antiquities is probably going to be $5,000 to $10,000 a set, depending on how nice you want it, or if you want it minty or played, personal choices. So, that's all I have to say today. Just want to give you guys a nice little history lesson with the Workshop card there. It's still underpriced. It is what it is.